Here's some industry trends. Um, this trend here points out, this graph here points out some changing and coming from the growing importance of the internet. Um, Here is the time spent by people, that's the yellow, and the blue is the advertising dollars. So we can see TV is roughly balanced. Internet, there's somewhat more time spent than ad dollars. Mobile, there's an enormous disparity between ads and time spent. And whereas print is exactly the opposite. There's a huge excess of ad budget compared to time spent. So this just points out that we're moving more to an internet-driven or online um, way of spreading information. This notes that the top 10 global internet properties, and you can see these are all, these the first ones here are all US, and here we have some, Baidu is Tencent, I believe it Chinese. Um, And if you look at the number of US users of the US site, is actually a small fraction for all of these sites here. And so these are a big export industry, and the US has the top 8 of internet properties. So this is a field where the United States has at the moment a lead, but obviously there's a lot of capability and interest in places outside the US competing with, and maybe successfully competing with the US now that because this is to remain near the top, you're going to have to keep on innovating and giving greater value to users. Here's an interesting comment on the change in mobile phone operating systems. Now the dominant operating systems, Apple, Android, and Windows, are a huge fraction of the total, maybe 85, almost 90%. And what it says here up here, 88, I'm sorry, it's clear, whereas it used to be 5%. So the US OSs are 88% of the smartphone market at the moment. And so that's an interesting change in the source of phone operating systems. Here is social media. There's a kind of interesting actual drop in the use of Facebook. All the other sites, as you expect, are actually increasing. And of course, the number of people using Facebook is enormous. So the fact they're dropping from a very high, they're still at a very high value of a fraction of people using it. And poor old Facebook can't ever get bigger than 100%, presumably. Here's an interesting comment on China. If we plot the mobile phone use versus desktop PC use for accessing the internet, currently more people access the internet from a mobile phone than they do from a desktop machine. We already commented on this, that as we move forward, the lightweight clients, mobile phones and tablets are taking over from desktop PCs, partly because you can put so much computing in those small devices that they're as powerful as a desktop PC, and the desktop PC doesn't know what to do with the increasing power of CPUs. Word doesn't run very well in parallel on multi-core chips. So here is some comment on e-commerce. Actually says that Alibaba, the Chinese site, is actually larger than Amazon and eBay at the end of last year. So that's quite a striking number. But so is just these total volumes, $150 billion of merchandise value. And it's still increasing fast, because Alibaba is dramatic, but Amazon and eBay are also both increasing fast. And that contrasts, of course, with the Postal Service, which is seeing a sort of inevitable decrease in volume as some of the things done by physical mail are switched to email and social media interactions. And one presumably can expect these trends to continue. Um, this again presents data on the operating system, where Apple and Android is taking over from Windows. This is the sum on all machines, and we can see that whereas here we have an interesting dominance of Microsoft Windows starting around maybe the mid 80s here, where it reached 50%. And now Apple and Android are actually in sum much as 65% compared to Windows at 35%. So this is an important and possibly again inevitable change as we switch to a different type of device.